Finally, some good news for Social Security. As President Joe Biden, we're hearing in the year 2024, is being urged to go big on Social Security as a way to beat former President Donald Trump in the upcoming elections. Progressive groups, they have been pitching to the White House this idea on whether the re-election campaign used should include this, and they're saying that they are saying go big for Social Security. So a lot of people that have been waiting for this for quite some time, we're now going to be seeing, hopefully, this come to the forefront. Now, what's very interesting as well is that we've received confirmation that starting on March 7th, President Joe Biden will be delivering his State of the Union address. And you will recall what happened last year in 2023 in the State of the Union address. Social Security was a huge topic that came up. There was massive controversy that broke out in the middle of the State of the Union address. Let me know if you remember that in the comments. Now, also, in addition to that, we have now just seen the House of Representatives, just in the past 48 hours, passing a bipartisan tax bill to extend and expand the child tax credits. Now, this expansion of the child tax credits is something that we have been hearing about for several years. A lot of people had lost faith that these were going to come to fruition. Now they've been completed. Now, we had heard that this and Social Security expansion, modification, reform was going to take place. Now, many people saying that we're going to see Social Security come to the forefront as President Biden is trying to figure out ways to get voters back on his side to provide a second term. Now, in addition to that, articles coming out like this: second term Bidenomics today on tap. When it comes to making the rich fund affordable childcare and long-term Social Security benefits, there are suggestions rolling out for President Joe Biden to begin implementing. Now, in addition to that, former President Donald Trump, we're going to be seeing what he has to say regarding Social Security. Now, we will see, because let me know your thoughts. We're hearing that a lot of people feel like they've been left on the sidelines. A lot of unfulfilled promises regarding stimulus, child tax credits, Social Security benefits. Now we're all seeing this come to the forefront as the elections are coming to us right around the corner. Now we will see. Let me know your thoughts. And also let me know your thoughts on, is this one of the biggest priorities right now? This has been a long-term promise. If you think Social Security should be one of the key elements that they address, put SS. Now, another one is the current conflict in the Middle East and our border security. If you think that is more important than Social Security, put BS for border security, or put SS for Social Security. Let me know which one you think should be the priority right now. But what we're hearing is that this might be a strategy from President Joe Biden to address the economy and bring it to the forefront and make this a part of his campaign. Now, I'm seeing mixed in the chat. I'm seeing both Social Security, border security, both coming up, both very important topics. But we're hearing that the Biden campaign might be pivoting to start pushing Social Security. And this has been a long time coming. From the time we actually saw him run in 2020, we had seen those tweets coming out saying that those on disability, retirement, SSI, all of the various different forms of Social Security should receive an across-the-board increase of $200 per month for a total of $2,400 additional every year, a flat increase in addition to the cost of living adjustment to keep up with inflation, because people are simply not getting enough money to live on, those that depend on these fixed income benefits from Social Security. Now, that was a promise about 4 years ago that is unfulfilled. We've seen several pieces of legislation come through Congress, none of which have gotten traction or even gotten voted on. We'd heard 2023 was going to be the year of Social Security reform. That and the child tax credits would come to fruition. We had not seen that happen. However, now we are seeing traction on the expanded child tax credits, which means that Social Security, we heard, could be the next thing. And articles coming out like this. Now, I'm going to be sharing with you the latest on this. And do me a favor, if you appreciate the updates, I see we've got about 700 people in the room. Smash the like button for me if you appreciate the updates on what is going on, what could be impacting you and your family. I see people saying that there have been promises of more money for 4 years. Nothing. Show me the money, says Michelle Kleins. And I feel like a lot of people feel that way. Michael Combs says, sounds like the college loan forgiveness. Yes, there was an assortment of promises that came out from the Biden administration. Democrats had full control of Congress. We did not see a lot of the promises come to fruition. A lot of people blame Senator Joe Manchin on that, but he also said we needed fiscal responsibility He actually said we need to take into consideration the impacts of inflation on our economy. And if we just spend like crazy, it would cause massive inflation worse than what we saw. And they actually passed the Inflation Reduction Act. But a lot of people very upset because one of the things that was promised that they said that they could include was stimulus checks, Social Security increases, child tax credits, an assortment of things that could directly help people. We also had leftover stimulus funds that was allocated to go out to the American people, just sitting there, hundreds of billions of dollars that was never tapped into. And a lot of people feel like that money was meant to go to the American people, never got distributed, just sitting there. And a lot of people were promised help and never received it and were very upset with the Biden administration. Well, we're hearing elections are coming up, and now his campaign is beginning to remember some of the promises, and we will see if they come to pass. Now, regardless of the motivations, if it's to help the American people or just to get reelected, the thing is that there might be benefits coming the way of the American people. We're already seeing these child tax credits coming, tax credit benefits going to businesses, to affordable housing. And now, if Social Security comes to the forefront, people might get Social Security benefit increases. However, will it be enough to convince people to keep Biden in his place of power? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. If President Joe Biden were to give $200 per month increases across the board, would that be enough to get you to vote for him in the upcoming elections? If yes, put a 2. Put a 2 if you would vote for Biden for a second term. Put a 2. If no, put a 1. If you say, like, even if he gave me an extra $200 a month, you can't buy my vote. 1, you'd prefer to see probably former President Donald Trump in position. But if he gave you an extra $200, put a 2 if you wouldn't mind seeing him get that second term for putting more money in your pocket. I'm seeing a couple 2s, but I am seeing a lot of 1s. A lot of people saying it is too late for former president, for current President Joe Biden, that they would rather see Donald Trump. Oh, but I am seeing, look, there's several 2s pouring in as well. So there's a lot of people saying, listen, it's not too late, Joe Biden. If you fulfill your promises, there are people that are saying in the chat right now, we've got 770 people in the room saying that they would vote for Biden if he just made good on those promises, if he would help the American people, help those on Social Security, those fixed income benefits, just make it day to day, living paycheck to paycheck as inflation is roaring out of control. Now, let me share this article with you. Now, this was actually presented back in November. So about 2-3 months ago, they started talking about this, and now we're starting to see it happen. Biden urged to go big on Social Security as a way to beat former President Donald Trump. Progressives are pitching the idea to the White House. Now, it's a story Joe Biden loves to tell. Midway through his State of the Union address, as the president accused Republicans of trying to cut entitlement programs like Social Security, loud objections from the House chamber suddenly turned his speech into a negotiation. Now, just to clarify, this article has vocalized Social Security as an entitlement program, but we have made it clear here on this channel that it is not an entitlement program. It is something that people pay into their entire lives, and then when it is time for them to get it, they should receive it because it's something they paid into. They call it an entitlement program, but just to clarify, that is just the wording of this particular article. Now, pausing to spar with the GOP lawmakers, Biden extracted a promise to take these entitlement cuts off of the table in the upcoming debt ceiling showdown, securing a major victory before talks even begin. So they're recapping what unfolded before. Now, guess what? That State of the Union address for 2024 is right around the corner. Biden is going to be delivering the State of the Union address on March 7th, this upcoming month, after we get through February into March. Now, let me know your thoughts. We will see Social Security, if it is going to be something that is mentioned and on the table. It was a big topic last year in 2023, and that was because going into the year, we had heard that it was going to come to the forefront. We had heard that Social Security was going to be, 2023 was going to be the year of Social Security reform. And we saw several pieces of legislation brought before Congress, a lot of bills written up, a lot of bills reintroduced. However, none of them actually came to fruition. Well, now we're hearing that that could be coming back, and don't be surprised. Do not be surprised if it does, because this is an election year. It is a time when members of Congress start getting busy and actually getting to work, because they know that their jobs are on the line and they need to convince the American people to get something done. So my guess would be, if we are going to see something, it could be right before elections. Now, we will see as if things start picking up and we get traction on promises that have been in the background for a long time starting to come to the focus. And as you saw, I just did a poll right now in the middle of the chat to put a 1 if you would not vote for Biden. If he gave you an extra $200 a month, put a 2 if you would. And guess what? There was a lot of 2s, a lot of people saying that they would do it. Now, this article just came out last month, says that President Joe Biden on Saturday, he confirmed that he will be delivering his final State of the Union address for this term on March 7th. He said, "In this moment of great challenge for our country, it is my solemn duty to extend this invitation so that you may fulfill your obligations under the U.S. Constitution to report on the state of our union." Oh, excuse me. That is what Speaker Mike Johnson wrote in a letter formally inviting President Joe Biden to address a joint session of Congress. "Looking forward to it, Mr. Speaker," Biden wrote on X, formerly known as Twitter. March 7th is considered relatively late in the calendar for an annual address. Biden's 2023 address had fallen back on February 7th. In 2022, he delivered his address on March 1st. Super Tuesday falls on March 5th this year. Biden is expected to outline his administration's policy achievements and priorities in this address. Now, last year, his speech focused on the nation's economy recovery following the pandemic and the war in Ukraine. Now, the president's speech is typically followed by rebuttals by the opposing party, but the Republicans have not yet announced their speaker. Now, as we mentioned, there are several things that are taken into consideration for the president to address in this State of the Union address that he's going to be having on March 7th. A lot of people are saying, bring Social Security to the forefront. They're saying this could be a winning topic for President Biden if he wants to sway voters back into his favor in the upcoming elections. And as we mentioned, Social Security increases and child tax credit expansions, we had heard, were going to go hand in hand, one with the other. This had been the promise for several years. And what do we just see? We just saw in the past couple days, the House of Representatives passed that bipartisan tax bill to expand child tax credits. And a lot of people were caught off guard. Why is this suddenly happening after years of waiting? Well, it is election year. And now that child tax credits have passed through, what would be the next step? Likely Social Security increases for all those on these fixed income benefits. Now, here's another article that just came out a couple days ago. Second term Bidenomics. When it comes to making the rich fund affordable childcare and long-term Social Security expansion and benefits, Bernie Sanders has also suggested to Biden that he step forward and make this a priority. Now, the most important strategic challenge for Biden's White House is to formulate a second-term Bidenomics that would be and sell the voting people between now and November. So make no mistake, right now they are strategizing. What are the core things that are the most important to the American people? Can we tap into those core things and persuade the voters to go into favor of President Joe Biden by providing these things right before elections? It may not be the most urgent challenge, which is to avert the dangers that are currently taking place in the Middle East, and or at least note that what is going on right now with House Republicans and Donald Trump, they're saying are blocking reform on the southern border. So that is one of the narratives right now that the Democratic Party is pushing. But if Biden has any shot of beating former President Donald Trump in November, he can't rely solely only on Trump's self-subversions, this article says. He has to make a compelling case for the economy and economic policies that will palpably benefit tens of millions of Americans and that Republican candidates won't support. This article is hinting at that is Social Security. Now, when Biden delivers his State of the Union address on March 7th, I'm certain we're going to be hearing many such particulars, negotiating down the prices of way more than just 10 prescription drugs, and just for Medicare recipients, not only them as well, further measures to restrict and abolish junk fees, expand child tax credits beyond what the current proposal that is under negotiations is doing, and also renew the battle for affordable childcare, shore up long-term funding and expansions for Social Security, the way to finance those latter three and other policies that American voters would welcome Biden will surely say requires raising taxes on the rich and corporations, which every poll taken in at least the past decade shows to be off the charts popular. Now, let me know your thoughts. What if President Joe Biden came out in the State of the Union address on March 7th as part of his strategy to get people back on board with him? He said, we're going to expand the child tax credits. We're going to provide additional forms of stimulus and funding for people. We are going to help Social Security put together a program to extend the solvency and also increase the benefits. Do you think that would be enough to get people on board? And he said, we're going to do it all by taxing the rich. You're not going to get an extra penny in additional taxes. Would you go for it? Would you believe him? Now, we've received these promises for quite some time from the Biden administration. It hasn't come to fruition. Doesn't mean that it won't happen. Maybe they just thought strategically it wasn't the best timing. They just thought we're going to wait till right before the election so that way we can make good on these promises and get a second term as well. Now, would you be upset that they had made these promises, intended to do them, but waited 4 years to do them? Or would you just be happy they're finally being done? And they're going to be doing it by taxing the rich. Let me know your thoughts. Do you think that is a good idea for him to get these done and tax the rich? If you think so, put a 3. If you think no, let's not tax the rich, let's get a different plan and let's do it a different way, put a 4. I'd be curious to see what people's thoughts are on this. As they're saying that tax the rich, they're saying is off the charts popular, and that if he were to start promoting tax the rich to get you more money, that a lot of people, that would resonate with them and that would sway them over. I'm actually seeing a mix, some 3s, some 4s. Some people saying, yes, tax the rich, let them fund benefits that can go out to those on Social Security, receiving child care, all these affordability programs. And I'm seeing a lot of 4s, seeing people saying, no, it's not right. Don't tax the rich. Let's come up with a different plan. Very interesting to see the split. We have got a varying different opinions here on the channel. Now, they are saying that when Biden delivers his State of the Union address on March 7th, I'm certain we're going to be hearing much of those things. This particular article says, and it is shown that taxing the rich is off the charts popular. Corporate profit margins still hover at historically high levels. And while it may be a little too late to be calling for excessive profits to be taxed, such justifiable sentiments should fuel Biden's initiatives to reduce economic inequality. And to that end, last week, Bernie Sanders, in the company of fellow senators such as Elizabeth Warren, Ed Markey, Chris Van Hollen, they introduced what has long been argued as some of the readers might attest, this article says, is the most salutary, both economically and in terms of mass political education, a great corporate tax proposal. Scaling corporate income tax to the ratio between CEO pay and the median worker pay. So they're wanting to target CEOs and median workers' pay, which the Dodd-Frank Act requires publicly traded corporations to report on annually. The Tax Excessive CEO Pay Act of 2024 has been introduced. It would raise the tax rate by 0.5% on corporations whose CEOs or their highest paid employees, if not the CEO, made between 50 and 100 times what their median workers made. So they're saying if you make 50 to 100 times more than what your median company salary is, you should receive this additional tax. And this is called the Tax Excessive CEO Pay Act of 2024, introduced by Bernie Sanders, saying this could be an additional way to shore up funding to provide increases and expansions for Social Security and other programs that the Democratic Party would like to push to resonate with the American people to win those votes in 2024 during the presidential elections. And then more than that, an incremental reflection of higher ratios up to those corporations whose CEOs make more than 500 times what their median workers make. Corporations whose CEO to median worker pay ratio is under 50 to 1 would see no tax hike. Though you'd be hard pressed today to find any large publicly traded U.S. corporation that meets that criteria. So they're saying they want to go directly after the CEOs of major companies. Now, let me know your thoughts. This was introduced by Bernie Sanders. He's saying if you're a CEO and you make 49 times what your median worker salary is, you see no tax. But if you are a CEO that makes 50 times more, 100 times more, 500 times more than the median salary of your individuals, he's saying that you should receive this excessive CEO tax. Let me know if you agree with Bernie Sanders on this piece of legislation that they have introduced. If you think it is good, they should do it, put a Y for yes. If you think no, put an N for no. I'd be curious to see what people think. And again, they're saying that this will resonate with people, this tax the rich motive, and to do it to excessive earnings on CEOs. And I'm seeing Y's coming in. A lot of people saying yes, yes. I'm seeing Nana saying N for no, don't do it. John Wayne Causey saying no. David saying no. Mauricio saying yes. Tarrant saying yes. Tammy Baldwin saying most certainly yes. They're saying tax these wealthy CEOs. Very interesting to see the varying opinions, but this is some legislation that's been reintroduced, and they're saying that this strategy is going to resonate with people, and they're going to persuade people right before the elections to get back on board with these pieces of legislation. And also, they're going to try to start pushing Social Security and a lot of these other promises that we've heard for quite some time to get people back on board with the Biden administration. Now, these are discussions, it says, that are taking place right now. And as I mentioned, this article just coming out on January 30th of 2024. So 3 days ago, it says second term Bidenomics, the plan, the strategy that Democrats are doing with Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, Joe Biden to get voters back on track with the Biden administration. Now, at the same time, though, we're going to be seeing how former President Donald Trump, who looks like he is going to be running against Joe Biden, is going to be addressing these programs like Social Security expansion, insolvency, child tax credits, business tax credits, the economy. But in addition to that, we saw, I did a little poll here earlier, mixed thoughts on what is the most important thing right now. Half of the room saying they thought that Social Security and other economic issues being the priority. Others saying it's actually our current security, our border security, and all of the conflict taking place right now in the Middle East. So it's very interesting to see what might unfold here. They can cap their pay within their businesses, says Storm Lover 3. As long as the rich have money, they have nothing to worry about, says Tracy. They need to quit borrowing from the Social Security Administration, says George Mitchell. Yeah, a lot of people talking about that as well, tapping into Social Security. Now they're saying the solvency, excuse me, is a major issue. They're saying right now the solvency is going to last, I think it's like 7 to 11 years now. Last year they were saying, I think 8 to 12, maybe roughly 10. Now it's 2024. So we're getting closer to solvency issues. And so they have got to figure out how to address this, because I mentioned this several times here on the channel. The funds are running short, and as the COLA increases are getting larger with inflation, they're saying it's actually draining it out faster. That's why we can't predict exactly how much funds will, how long it's going to be lasting for, because it all depends on how quickly it's drained out due to payments going out. And also more and more people are retiring. So it is draining out faster and faster than the funds are going in. And they're not exactly sure how much time is left, but they're saying that when it finally runs dry, just to clarify, it is a portion of the funds. They're still going to be able to get funding coming in, but they're saying that you will not be able to receive 100% of the funds that Social Security has promised you. If you typically receive $1,000 a month, they're saying there could be cuts of 20 to 25%. It varies. We've heard different things from the Congressional Budget Office or the CBO as to the amount the cuts will be. But let's just say 20 to 25%. So therefore, if you collect $1,000 per month, when the solvency issue finally hits, you will receive a check of either $750 to $800 when you typically received $1,000. You will be shorted about $200 or $250. And when you say, hey, what is going on here? I did not receive my whole check. Social Security is simply going to respond, sorry, we don't have enough funds to pay you 100% of the benefits. We actually had to do cuts to everybody, including SSI, SSDI, retirement, survivors, all the people that depend on Social Security. They all have received cuts of 20 to 25% across the board. That is the current threat with the solvency issue that is taking place. So they're saying this is one of the major things that President Joe Biden might bring up to address right before the elections. Now, in addition to that, people are also saying the payments that they receive simply not enough. They need bigger payments to go out. It's not keeping up with the cost of living. It's not keeping up with inflation. And those that are, living off of these fixed income benefits are struggling to make it day to day. And they're also proposing a bigger increase across the board for everybody to receive. And also we've got taxation issues. Since the creation of the tax brackets and Social Security being taxed, there have not been increases to those tax brackets, which they're saying more and more people now are breaking past those tax brackets and actually having to pay more in taxes. So these COLA increases to their benefits they're receiving, they're not even receiving the whole increase because they're getting taxed on the benefits they're receiving. So major modifications need to happen to Social Security. Taxation, they're saying the COLA calculations on CPIW needs to be changed to CPIE. Solvency issues need to be addressed. And they also said across the board increases need to take place. These are several of the items that need to be addressed with Social Security. And we're going to be seeing, because now articles coming out that the Biden administration is strategizing to start bringing this to the forefront as we approach elections. And they're saying they're confident that if they do this, they're going to be able to sway the American people back onto the side of approval for Joe Biden and potentially getting him a second term. Strategies coming out today on this. And we'll be seeing, they're saying State of the Union address coming up March 7th. If this is a topic that is brought to the forefront, like we saw last year in that State of the Union address. So, big news coming out for Social Security. We will see. Now, as stuff comes out, I will be sure to keep you guys up to date. Let's see here. George Mitchell says, Prophetess, thank you so much for your service. Prophetess, who said so? Somebody. Okay, so there's somebody named Prophetess in the chat that is sharing information with people. I'm guessing maybe it's regarding Social Security or some of the stuff going on. She says, I'm a vet, VA, check cut for collection, Social Security, disability. Vets got their VA checks cut. Oh, wow. Sorry to hear that. We got to take care of our vets and those that serve our nation. So, as information comes out on potential reform, modifications to Social Security, all those collecting these fixed income benefits, I will be sure to keep you guys up to date on this. And it looks like, from what I'm reading today, and like I try to make sure that there's current news, haven't seen a whole lot on it lately. It seems like all the attention has shifted to the conflict in the Middle East. But what I saw today, it looks like this is coming back around. So if you're somebody that's looking for information on Social Security, we'll see, SSI, SSDI, retirement, veterans benefits. If this starts coming to the forefront, I will keep you guys up to date. I will make sure that you guys get the latest information. And if you appreciate that, do me a quick favor. Don't forget, smash the like button. I see we've got 780 people on, 645 likes. Can I get 100 people that have not yet hit the like button to do so? It just helps spread this out further. Also, hit subscribe to stay up to date. And in addition to that, if you want to stay updated outside of social media platforms, maybe you're not able to get on YouTube all the time, or maybe we might have issues. We've heard about disruptions in communication and social media platforms. Join my newsletter, www.steveramnews.com. We're actually sending out the first newsletter today. And so you guys will get that information. And also, if you sign up for the newsletter, I put together a power grid failure readiness guide, totally free for anybody that signs up. So that way, if you're concerned about potential power grid issues, it just is simple step-by-step things. And so far, I've gotten a lot of great reviews on it. People saying thank you. It's just simple, common sense things that most of us would think about, but you forget. And there were some people saying there was even some things in there that I didn't think about that I'm like, oh, I should do this just in case I've got issues. So again, that is on the newsletter when you sign up. It is at www.steveramnews.com. And I've got a specific link for that one as well for the power grid failures for that page at Steve Ram News. So I can also pin that for you guys right after this video, so that way you can have access to that. But like I said, if more comes out on Social Security, I will make sure that you guys are up to date on everything, because it looks like the Biden administration might be trying to bring this back to the forefront, might actually take some action on it after 4 years of promises to try to see if they can get people back on board with current President Joe Biden. So we will see. I will keep you guys up to date, but that is the latest. Like I said, we'll see if they go big on Social Security. So with that being said, you guys, thank you so much for joining me. I will catch you in the next one. Take care. God bless. This is Steve.